Hey, my friends, are you looking for something as American as apple pie and baseball? Well, check out Copan Restaurant and Truckstop. They've got everything you want to fulfill your appetite. Give them a call at 918-532-4666. Check them out at 7440 US Highway 75 in Copan, Oklahoma, or go to their Facebook page, Copan Restaurant and Truckstop. Every kind of special you want. They've got apple pie. They've got all the good desserts. Every Friday and Saturday night, they've got prime rib specials served. Oh my word, they've got a little bit of everything. Give them a call, 918-532-4666. Jeremy and his team will absolutely blow your mind. Copan Restaurant and Truckstop. Hello, my friends. Wanted to come to you really quick and talk about one of our amazing sponsors, Revo Financial. Your money absolutely matters. Your future matters. Your family's future matters. Do you have a plan to take care of your family? Do you have a plan for your money? Well, I'm going to tell you, Revo Financial is the group you need to talk to. Revo Financial is a family-trusted, faith-driven financial advisor group that is passionate about building and managing wealth for clients who value investments that align with their principles and their core values. Give them a call at 918-336-7877. 918-336-7877 or go to revofinancial.com. Chase Allcott, welcome to the podcast, man.
No, thank you for having me. I'm
super excited to have you here just to sit down for a few minutes, just to pick your brain about how you got into the world of Chick-fil-A. I mean, you're serving the Lord's chicken, so.
No, I love what I get to do. I love the team I get to work with, and like I said, I've had all four of your kids at some point,
yes,
work for us, and so yeah. I love what I get to do, and so I'm happy to tell you anything or dive into.
So, how did you get started in Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, so it kind of leads in. It's a little bit of. I'll try and figure out where to jump around and what parts to tell.
Yeah, just.
So when I was in high school, I waited tables. I also worked at. What's funny is I worked at Wendy's in the mall, and I worked at Subway in the mall at the same time, and Chick-fil-A's in between them. Never.
Where at? What town?
Pensacola, Florida.
Oh, what in the world? Holy cow! You moved from Pensacola, Florida, to Oklahoma.
Yep, and I spent a good amount of time in Joplin.
Okay,
and so that's kind of what. So I've always loved customer service, and I've always loved the restaurant industry, and so I've always had that in me.
Okay.
Went to school to be a financial planner and to do something in the finance world or business world.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it was I interned with an organization called Christ in Youth.
Okay.
Based out of Joplin, Missouri.
Yep.
Puts on events all across the country for youth groups.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, so I did that between my sophomore and junior year, and then I came back for another summer. And they asked me to stay on when I graduated in a full-time role. And so I ended up being there for 13 years. And the mission that developed while I was there with all of their events was how can you call students to be kingdom workers?
Come on.
And it's really how can you take your talents and your gifts and your abilities and your history and anything, and how can you leverage it for the kingdom?
That's awesome.
And so it was one where I worked at a ministry, but I never felt like I was called to be a pastor.
Yeah.
Definitely wouldn't want me to be a worship pastor. I was much more behind the scenes guy, much more, a numbers guy.
Sure.
And if I ever did anything in the church, it'd be executive pastor or something like that.
Sure.
You don't want me on Sunday morning or the numbers keep going down. And so anyways, it was one where loved business, loved ministry, felt, okay, how can I use my gifts for the kingdom? And I actually had a buddy who used to be in a church who owns now 2 stores outside of Dallas. And he just told me, he's like, dude, you got to do this. You're wired for this. You got to do this. And so I checked it out. And what I tell people led me to Chick-fil-A was, one, this idea of servant leadership. I had studied that a little bit, and Truett Cathy and Chick-fil-A, like, it is clearly built on servant leadership.
Yeah.
And so that was one part that drew me to it. Second was the culture piece. It was not only how do I get to be a part of a company that's an incredible culture, how do I also get to build and direct and shape a culture of a store or of a team?
Yeah.
And then third, what really was business. It was in the sense of, I'm a huge learner, and I've always been fascinated by just how business ticks and how that works. And, and I said, okay, worst thing that happens, I do this for 4 or 5 years, and I feel like I'm getting a triple doctorate degree in how to run a business.
Yeah.
And
because that's, I mean, under the Chick-fil-A stuff, man, the statistics are like, you're more likely to be able to get into Stanford than to become a
any of those,
owner-operator.
Harvard, anything. So last I heard, there are somewhere between 125 and 150,000 people every year that express interest in, hey, becoming an owner.
Yeah.
And they at best select 100 of those. So yeah, 150,000 down to 100. That percentage is pretty small. I say that though, I feel like there's so much of God's hand over my process. I had where I wanted to be and the timing. I also, who knows if I would make it through the process today. I'm glad I went through 8 years ago. So anyways, my buddy in Dallas is one who's like, you got to check it out. And then going through it, it was like, man, this is an incredible thing to do. And I feel like I do get to truly leverage my gifts that God's given me, from business to people to all of that. How can I make an impact for this kingdom and do it here in Bartlesville? So.
That's fantastic. So you didn't work in a Chick-fil-A as a younger guy?
I never worked in a Chick-fil-A outside of a few days here and there, but never received a paycheck from any Chick-fil-A. So like I said, I had experience in the restaurant industry, so I wasn't afraid of. Yeah. I made a lot of greasy burgers at Wendy's, and so I got lots of stories. I wasn't afraid of how it'd smell or what that looked like. But yeah.
That's man. In high school, I flipped burgers at McDonald's.
Yeah,
so I totally get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you move here. I mean, what drew you to Oklahoma? What was it?
Yeah. So I was in Joplin the whole time, and while I was going through the process, and initially at some point you put down, hey, where do you want to be? And I put Tulsa area number 1. Okay. My wife is from Sand Springs. Oh, okay. And all her family's from Sand Springs or from that area. And so I said Tulsa area. And then somewhere in the process, they were like, hey, we want you to interview for Bartlesville. I initially got really excited because I thought it said Bentonville. And then when I read Bartlesville, I was like, where's Bartlesville? And I remember driving over here and parking in the Starbucks parking lot and being like, oh, this is a real town. Yeah. And they have cars here and not horses. And
there's people on the East Coast that genuinely believe people still live in teepees here. It is a wild phenomenon.
Like I said, I didn't know what I had in my head for what Bartlesville was before I drove over here. I was like, oh, this is a real place.
Sure. No, it's a whole thing. When I did telecom stuff for a little bit, and I'd be on the phone with different people, and they'd be like, oh, Oklahoma. Now you guys still, are there a lot of people in teepees still? And I'm like, no one's in teepees out here. It's a wild thing that people actually believe that. So that's a crazy thing. Well, that's awesome. So the family's here. So that's super helpful.
And my parents moved here right before COVID. Okay.
Glad they did pre. Yes. That would have been chaos during the middle of that.
Florida. I mean, my dad's lived in Florida his whole life until he moved up here.
But is it a little bit of weather culture shock for him?
They love it. They love the pace, and they love just everything about it.
Well, Pensacola's it's a pretty happening place. I mean, there's a lot going on. So this is probably a slower pace.
Yeah, it's much slower pace. And I think they were in Tampa area
Oh,
at the
wow.
time.
So yeah, this is big
Yep.
time slow.
So, but Florida his whole life, and yeah, they moved here, and my wife's family's in Tulsa, and so
So how did you and your wife meet?
so she interned at Christ in Youth as
Okay.
well.
Yep.
It was actually my second summer was where I met her, and it was I had to go back and finish school, and she was at a school in right outside of Tulsa. I think she was at TCC, and then went to NSU,
Yep.
and so yeah, so we met, started dating. I moved back to Joplin, and then fast forward a year and a half, 2 years later, we got married, and
Come on.
yeah, and so coming up on our 20th wedding anniversary next month.
Congratulations,
So,
man. You guys
yeah.
a November wedding.
November.
Oh, look
Yep.
at that. That's fun.
So,
I love
thanks. Yep.
fall, Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's fun. Thanksgiving theme. That's awesome. Okay, so what have been some of the challenges and how did you overcome those challenges when you got here?
Yeah. So first it was I walked in, okay, I own a business and I need to hire a team. And so I think I hired about 100 to 120 people before we opened.
Yep.
But the day we opened, like there wasn't a single person who worked for us or worked at Chick-fil-A that I knew 3 months before that. So
wow.
it was like all new people to my world. And, it was one, I could talk about learnings every month, every year. But what it really was, I say eye-opening to me. I remember when we first opened, just, okay, what does this look like? Because there are so many people, and it is Chick-fil-A's. We're in the people business, not the chicken business.
That's right.
And but okay, how does that play out? And so it's one where I'm continually learning. Okay, what is this balance of loving and caring for our team and for our guests, and how do you do that by also running a good business, which then parlays into being able to be more generous with your team and do really cool things. So it's one of those that there's a snowball effect. How do you do it? And so I'd say I'm still learning that, but especially early on. I remember one of my first, and I was telling someone about this last week, one of my first instances of where it kind of hit me of a learning was, we all could tell the story of how, the shepherd left the 99 to go after the one, but nowhere in the story does it talk about that he abandoned the 99.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the early learnings for me, is because I would spend a lot of time chasing the one.
Sure.
And in some senses, I was neglecting the 99.
Oof. Okay.
And so it was just one of those where I was like, okay, like I want to chase the one, but I got to make sure that I'm taking care of the 99 as well, or that I'm not taking care of
Any of them.
And so that was just a learning of how to do that. What does that mean? How do you do that within a business? And yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. So yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things I've noticed about Chick-fil-A. I mean, you can tell that the leadership is always constantly looking for ways to pour back into the people. I mean, I know that there's shortcomings.
Yep.
We're all human, so we all fall
100%.
short.
Yep.
But that's one of the things I've noticed in the difference between Chick-fil-A and a lot of other fast food industries. I mean, I worked for McDonald's for 4 years, and good grief. I mean, that was awful. But it was, anyways, for high school, it was great. But I mean, I would not want to work for McDonald's today. That would just be awful. But you guys definitely care for folks. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and I'd say that was even a shift early on when I started working at Chick-fil-A and I remember the conference I was at, I was about a year and a half in, and I think it was unintentional, but then it turned into, man, okay, what does this look like? Where one of our executives was talking, and he was giving one of our talks at our annual meeting, and he was talking about how many companies are known for one word. Yeah. Amazon for convenience, and Patagonia for earth, and Apple for innovation, and he go through the list, and he's like, okay, what's Chick-fil-A known for? And the challenge was, hey, like our word, and there are multiple examples of true it, is the word care. And I remember where I was sitting, I'm still even get goosebumps today thinking about it, because it was like, okay, yes, I'm in the people business, not the chicken business, but end of the day, I make chicken sandwiches.
Sure.
And I make fries. And the fact that we want to be known for care as our word, like it just hits a chord.
Yeah.
And it makes you think, okay, like this is a cool thing to be a part of. And how do we do that to our team members and to our guests? And that's our focus.
Love that. So good.
And so, yeah.
That's it. I mean, it's so great when you care for people, like they keep coming back. Like that's the wild thing. I mean, Chick-fil-A is one of the most, I mean, it's a juggernaut in the fast food industry. And it's because you do feel valued. They don't ask you for your number, or they don't say, hey, you're number 22, you're number, like, what name can we put on the order? And so they call your name. And so that's one of the things that I just push out all the time is remembering people's names. That was my dad. He was a horrible guy when it came to remembering names. He'd be like, you'd be like, Chance. He'd be like, Dad, his name's Chase. Like, oh, okay. And so I'm like, that was one of the things I always tried to do really well was remember people's names. Yep. And if
I heard a quote recently of that, there's no sweeter sound in someone's ears than someone saying their name.
Yes.
And
listen, I want to say thanks to one of our amazing new sponsors, Outpost Coffee, for providing us with amazing caffeinated beverages. Listen, the holiday season is here, fall is here, and all the appropriate flavors that you want for the holiday season are at Outpost. Listen, check out outpostcoffeeco.com. You can get bags of beans shipped to you. You can, I mean, if you're in town, you just step right through the doors and you pick up your favorite cup of whatever you like. I personally like a vanilla breve. But it tastes amazing. It's like Christmas in a cup. I love it. But if you're a pumpkin spice person, man, they got that. The white chocolate, whatever. If you just listen, Caleb, all I want is a black cup of coffee. Fantastic. They got that too. Check them out at outpostcoffeeco.com. Hey, my friends, wanted to come to you and talk about one of our amazing sponsors, Precision Lawn and Landscaping of Bartlesville. Start planning your festive home decor right now. The time is almost here. The holidays are going to be here. And listen, trying to get your Christmas lights hung up on your house can sometimes just be a chore, and you might need some help. Brandon and his crew can help you out. You can get a free quote today. Give them a call at 918-766-1549. That's 918-766-1549. Precision Lawn and Landscaping of Bartlesville. Happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah, and what's great about Chick-fil-A is Dan Cathy, who is Truett's son, in the, I think it was early 2000s, somewhere in there, his big push was this idea of second mile service, coming straight out of Matthew 5:41, and just, okay, if someone asks you to go a mile, how are you going to go a second mile?
Second mile.
And with that, like he said, okay, in the restaurant industry, what does that mean? Mm-hmm. And he said, okay, how can you take things from fine dining and bring them down? And how can you push this idea of quick service and push it up? And and one of the things he said, like that came out of second mile service was, hey, we're going to ask for people's names. Mm-hmm. As you said, first mile service, and the requirement is I just need to get a number. I just need to get something to do this transaction.
Get it back to you so you can get your stuff.
And we even have, okay, like I'll give you a table marker that's got a green ice cream cone on or something, so I know where to find you. But then the thought is that, hey, Caleb, here's
your number, your name is on the ticket so that the server knows your name. Like, hey, Caleb. Yeah, absolutely. And it makes you feel valued when you walk in. It really is a great thing. I love it. It's so good. I want to switch gears for a second.
Absolutely.
I heard through the grapevine, our mutual friend Aaron Kirkpatrick told me that you teach college a business course too. So not only are you a business owner, you also do some professor work.
Yeah, I say it's pretty minimal, but I enjoy it. So every other fall, I get to teach a seminar, I don't know, 1 or 2 hour seminar at Ozark Christian College for their business department.
Okay.
I think it's actually their leadership. I changed their leadership department. And the class I've gotten to teach is entrepreneurship and vocation.
Love it.
And so what's really cool is I get to spend 24 hours with a group of students. and really dive into, okay, what does entrepreneurship mean? What does vocation mean? How do they tie together? How, and ask a lot of those questions. Okay, where does this fall? What does this mean? And so, yeah, I've had Aaron FaceTime in and be a guest speaker for me a few years ago.
That's what he said. That's fantastic. I love it.
I just love wrestling with that question because it's, again, with Chick-fil-A, it's like, hey, if you can do it well, it can snowball into so many different things, and so many different avenues. And there are, I know in a good sense, there are some opportunities I get to do that I wouldn't have got to do if I was working in a church.
Sure.
And definitely not taking anything away from that. It's just I have a unique opportunity.
Well, I think that's not. I think that we need to see that there's more than. I'm not anti-pastor. Of course,
Right.
I am a pastor.
Right.
So
Yeah.
But having Christian leaders in business absolutely impacts the culture, impacts the way the city runs. I mean, when Christians run certain businesses and run things in the city, I think the city just runs better when Christians do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it just historically, it just does better. And so you stepping into those spaces, you make, in certain ways, make a bigger impact than people in ministry, because here's the reality. For a Christian, there's no such thing as a secular sacred divide. There's everything's sacred. So this is your ministry. So that's, I mean, to see that is fantastic. I love it.
Well, and I came from the youth ministry world. And one of the things that I know I've told people is like, okay, living in that world for 13 years, it was like, okay, what would define a win for a youth pastor? It would be if I get to see the student 3 times a month, 3, maybe 4 times in a month. And if I got to have a 5 to 10 minute actual conversation with them, that would be a win for a month. And in the youth pastor or youth ministry world. And I said at Chick-fil-A, like, I have the opportunity to work side by side people 3, 4, 5 times a week for 3 to 4 hours at a time and interact and have conversation with them the entire time.
Come on.
And so to me, I'm like, man, there's so much opportunity. You know, today it was one of our team members stopped me and thanked me for just send her a message on, hey, I'm praying for you because she got some medical news a few weeks ago. And, and another one whose grandma passed away. And so talking with our care leader on, okay, what does this mean? Can we send flowers to the funeral? Like, how can we care for her in these times when, and I think that's what's unique about Chick-fil-A is like, okay, how can we care for our team? And even just, it's a really cool opportunity to even be having those conversations of, hey, this happened in so-and-so's life. How can we care for him? When a lot of places you wouldn't be having those conversations.
You wouldn't. Yeah.
And so, yeah.
That's great. Where do you find inspiration and you read? What's your go-to for inspiration?
I spend a lot of time reading. And I'm probably in the middle of 10 different books right now.
I'm the same way. But got a favorite author?
You know, I have a collection of favorite authors.
Okay.
I would say, and I think it kind of depends on what genre you're looking at.
Sure.
I can say Lencioni's had a huge influence on our culture. Ideal Team Player is one of our bedrock books that we read. That aren't team, but there's Mark Miller's Chick-fil-A author. There's a lot of stuff that we use from him. And then it's kind of a hodgepodge of a bunch of different stuff. He's not a Christian, but I love reading Ryan Holiday's stuff. Ego is the Enemy is a book that I know a lot of our readers or our team will read or leaders will read. But honestly, what is the biggest thing where I get my inspiration is I spend a lot of time really, I have an app on my phone called Bible Memory, and I spend a lot of time every morning just trying to memorize scripture.
That's fantastic.
And so it's something that, I don't know, I stumbled through a few years ago, and so I spend a lot of time every morning doing that because I'm like, how can I have it etched in my heart and in my mind? Like in my head, it's like, okay, if that everything was taken away from me, what would be that? And so It started with just, I have a collection of probably 50 different daily verses that are my life verses, and then turned into, okay, memorizing some passages, and then 2025, my goal is to memorize Philippians. And so
We're taking our church, we're actually doing a series through the book of Philippians right now in church. So fantastic book.
Yeah, another professor, he's like, hey, that's the one you should memorize.
That's great.
Or one I should start with. And so, but I've got a list in my phone of the next passages that I want, because I go through it pretty slow. I've never qualified myself as a fast learner, so so I review it a lot.
That's fine. That's fantastic, man. That's good to see it and have it in front of you like that. It's great. Last question: how does your faith impact how you do your business?
Yeah, I mean, it's the foundation of. It's the center. It's my focus. It is the lens that I will send everything through.
Come on.
And so I know I have, and it even talks about in Scripture, I know I have a responsibility to Chick-fil-A. That's my employer. I know I have a responsibility to my team, and I know I have duties to my guests. And so I grab a hold of even, like I said, verses or just what my faith is, and that's the lens I'll send it through for my business and for whatever that is. Luke 16:10 of being faithful in a little, like that's one of our bedrock verses at the store, because it's like, okay, hey, if you're gonna be faithful, and hey, are you clean the bathroom the right way? Like, then I know you're gonna be faithful in much. And I even have that, okay, like, I believe the Lord's looking at me that same way.
I love that.
And so,
man, that's great. I love how you just said that. If you're willing to clean a bathroom the right way, I'll jump in. That's so good. Yes.
So, so like I said, I have a collection of verses that I think apply directly to my work and to my team, and we talk about it all the time, and then just, okay, and then looking for new verses all the time of, okay, how does this apply and what does this mean?
That's fantastic. Well, great, man. So if somebody it lives under a rock and doesn't live in this area and they don't know where you are, how do they find Chick-fil-A in this area?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you could just Google Chick-fil-A Bartlesville, and it's going to show up.
You guys got a Facebook page. You're on Highway 75.
Yes. Just look Chick-fil-A, type in Chick-fil-A Bartlesville anywhere, and it'll pop up.
Maybe that's a dumb question. I don't know. But.
Yeah, I want to say it's harder to find me, but I can say, like, I'm on all the stuff. I don't do a ton of posting. I let my team really run with that, and they do a great job. But I mean, I love meeting with anybody. I love talking with anybody. I love just seeing what that is and hearing stories. And so,
Well, thanks for sharing your heart with us and give us a little inspiration today.
No, thank you a ton for having me.
Been good stuff, man. Thanks.
Thanks, Caleb.